Hey guys, Howard here with Day of the Eagle by the mighty Robin Trower. What a great tune. This is a serious groove, a really thick pocket. And it's just wicked. I love it, okay? So I'm just covering the main guitar here, the song itself. If I do any of his solo work, which is his lead solos, which are really nice, I'll do that in a separate video. But most people just want to know how to play this song, so let's get started. Now, the opening chord, I think, is sometimes a bit of a mystery, but you can pull up plenty of video of Robin playing this live, and you can clearly see what he's doing. He's playing a C sharp 7 sharp 9, and the bass lays out on this chord. The bass jumps in on the, but the bass lays out on this chord, and it's a bit of a mystery. It's just the way he plays it. I actually like to play it the standard way. But he doesn't do that. He plays it just like that, and you can clearly see that. So he leaves the B string open and then brings in the E for the ninth. So he's got a B that's a double, and it just creates a really thick sound, okay? So the first thing we want to do is talk about how that chord is strummed. So the rhythm on it, of course, is... And so you want to approach that with a down up and then another quick up, like that. And then you turn that into a loop, ending with a downstroke. So again, nice and slow. And then for the single note lines, which you can also see on the tab, I think downstrokes are best for that. And once in a while, you'll hear him give that F sharp, the second note, a little bit of a bend. We'll talk about that later in the slow section where he really does definitely give it a bend. But you kind of hear a little bit of that once in a while. So that's really cool if you can get that in there as well. So the whole riff, nice and slow then, is... And you play the riff 4 times, and for the first, second, and third time, which you can see on the tab, you play that lick. Right? On the 4th time, you jump off of the chord. All right, and some guys will play it like that, which is fine. But I like it that way for whatever reason, right? So as you can see on the tab, 12th fret on the B string, that string stays stationary, and then using the 11th fret on the G string, bend it and release it. And then on that last one, hit it again. And then we are into the main riff of the song. So that intro then is... main riff is just killer, right? So what's happening in the right hand is equally as important as what's happening in the left hand. And Robin, of course, in true English guitar player fashion, he wraps his thumb around and plays it like that. So if you like doing that, go ahead and do it. I'm not really a big thumb guy, although I have to admit that I do it occasionally. So you can play it that way if you want to, right? I just play it normally, okay? So a lot of times you just hear the single string, but he definitely does bring that in. You can see that when he plays, so it just comes through once in a while. But basically what I'm doing is, and then I hit the single note, okay? So let's talk about the strumming in the right hand. You can see I've got a C sharp power chord going there. So it's that same I did, down, up, down. And then open for the E string. So we have... And then we have this. So that I approach with an upstroke. I think that's really important because that puts you in the pocket that he's actually playing. So I go up, down, and then 2 downstrokes. And I think that's a really good way to play it. And you do play it 8 times like that. Now, when you listen to the recording, he doesn't quite finish the riff before he goes before he goes to that part. He doesn't quite finish the riff. He actually plays, and it sounds to me like he kind of slides into it or hammers into it even, okay? But we'll talk about that as well. So we've got 8 times of that. So let's talk about that. That's forming a B minor 7th, essentially, which is really cool sounding. And like I say, it sounds on the recording, he's got a pretty thick effect-oriented guitar sound, right? It's really nice. But it's hard to tell whether he's sliding or hammering or whatever, so you can do it any way you want. But essentially, what we're playing without the fancy stuff is... So you just want to keep your hand moving. Basically just alternate strokes, right? And then you can decorate it with hammering or sliding and then landing that C sharp note with that last downstroke. And then if you want, you can add the color to it. It's just a real thrashing type of rhythm, right? And he just nails it. So after we play that, we do that line again. So we've got... Very nice. And then we're into these dominant 7th chords. First it's a G sharp, then A7, B7. But he is slippery as all get out through here, right? And again, he uses his thumb for those bass notes, so feel free to do that. Feel free to do that if that's what you want to do. I just do it like this. So essentially, he's hitting the root note, the bass note of the chord, and then sliding into the dominant 7th shape. And again, you can use your thumb if you want to. Either way is totally fine. But I'll show you how I play this. This is kind of a tricky part, so it's very slippery. Just like that, okay? So again, that's a really tricky part to play, but it's also incredibly cool. And all of that just becomes a giant loop, right? They keep doing that, and that's basically the structure of the song. There's just a little subtle difference at the end when they move into the slow section. So let's talk about that as well. So that is where you really hear that subtle bluesy bend that I mentioned earlier. When he slows it down, you can really hear it. It's really subtle but super cool. And as a note, I play that with a standard C sharp, 7 sharp 9 shape, Hendrix style, but you can play it like you did at the beginning. Either way is going to sound pretty cool. To me, it often sounds like he's just focusing on a minor 7th, which means, so I've notated that for you on the tab. You simply mute out the D string by laying your first finger kind of lazily across it. And you get this real C sharp minor 7th sound. You can see that they all sound pretty close, okay? So either way is fine, however you like to do it. If you've got a Strat, of course, you can use the whammy bar to dip the chords a little bit like he does, or you do your vibrato with that. But there it is, Day of the Eagle by Robin Trower, one of my favorite tunes by him. There are many by him that I love. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed it. All the best to everyone. Happy New Year, by the way, 2023. And we'll see you guys soon.